Hey everybody, it's Tripl-L and I'm coming in with a video for Gundam GQuuuuuuX episode 4 and 5. Alrighty then, guys, let's just get into the recap real quick because episode 4 was a doozy. People were saying stuff about the episode, but it was better than I expected. So, the beginning of the episode is kind of all over the place because you're very quickly just establishing what's going on. You have Machu talking about some kind of career goal, career path thing. Her mom gets on her case about it. We find out that Zeon is still floating in the area of the colony, which is really pissing off the populace. Whatever. All the beginning part, it's a really fast-paced episode. We jump all over the place. Eventually, Machu is going to go in for her next clan battle. We have a new character appearing, someone that gets called the Witch by every character that matters because of how cool she is in particular mobile suits. Anyway, the Witch comes in. She's a person from the defeated Federation who still wants to face the Red Gundam. She has not really connections. She has a hunch. She goes to the Pomeranians, the junk traders, and that's where she meets Machu. Later on, Machu has really quick, brisk moments with this woman as they're walking and talking, and she's already connecting with this woman on a deeper level, already comparing her to her mother. We then have Machu being asked about Shuji because the Witch is pretty genre savvy, as it turns out, and figures out that she must know Shuji. She knows she's connected to the Red Gundam. Anyway, from there we pretty much jump over to the Witch's side of things. We see her with the team of mobile suit people. She's going to be riding a new suit. She's going to be taking on the Gundams. Funniest moment with the Witch overall, though, is when she calls new types Zeon propaganda. Man, and you know what? Props to them because they were setting something up there with how that turned out in the end. Anyway, we find out later on that the Witch is going into the fight replacing whoever it was that was going to face Machu and Shuji. We have the drop that the team that's coming into the fight is like a promotional team and they're pros. I should also mention by this point, Machu had a very quick moment with Shuji where he's talking more about what the Gundam wants, and the Gundam wants to go to Earth, and the Gundam wants to find Rose and all that kind of stuff. Honestly, Shuji's very disturbed, but you know what? It's because he's a psychic. He's a space psychic. Anyway, around the 13-minute, 30-second mark, that's when we officially start the battles. We see a Gaylog, a mass-produced Gundam from Zeon with 3 eye unit things. Anyway, the Zeon team of the guys that we kind of like here, they talk about how Zeon is smuggling stuff out because, they have access to these mobile suits that were still in development and shouldn't be hitting public market that soon. The battle begins officially at the 14-minute marks. We see some crazy moves from the Witch. It was actually really cool. The engineer is identified as Mosk Han, a character that you would be familiar with if you watched the original Gundam. Anyway, battle continues with new type flashes keeping up with the Witch's super quick moves. Bro, this woman is moving around so much that you really have to wonder the rules of space because there's so much pressure on the mobile suit itself. It looks like the mobile suit's breaking apart. Anyway, around the 60-minute mark, we see that Shuji is struggling as she flies around, and it's actually really cool seeing this wire strategy that the Witch uses to dart around, and she fires a wire into the suit and she uses that to kind of go around. Really neat. Legitimately props to that. Anyway, as this is going on, you have Machu freaking out and having a moment where she's calling out to Shuji. Around the 18-minute mark, we have some sort of Witch flashback. Essentially, we learn that she is a lady who accepted that there were talented people in the world, what she called chosen ones, and the not talented ones. She ultimately accepted that. Except not really, because she's so bothered by it that she yells at Shuji that he is not a chosen one. So she clearly has, she has a chip on her shoulder for pretty much losing the war. And she has this very specific thing against new types. At one point, she's just going crazy. It's like she's fighting to prove that new types do not exist because she just can't handle that. Unfortunately for her, Shuji has a new type moment and then he gets into everyone's heads. Now, everyone all of a sudden is hearing a Lala sound, except for the Harrow. And again, the Harrow is one of the best characters in this whole thing. That little round thing is so cute, bro. Anyway, everyone is hearing a Lala sound and is connected to the Red Gundam because the Gundam's eyes are glowing up. And then the Witch gets even madder, and this is where she denies the existence of the new types. The Witch goes in for another move. She's pretty much breaking her mass-produced Gundam apart, only to find that he got away at some moment. And then, holy crap, this is where the best moment happens. Shuji's right behind her, and it's just so slick. It's like a hot knife through butter. He just slowly runs his sword through that cockpit. Now, meanwhile, Machu's having a Kira out-of-body experience, and she's having visions of the Witch and her family, and I think she had a vision of a little boy approaching, because it's the Witch's son and all that kind of stuff. Anyway, she's having all of these visions about her, really connecting with her on a higher level before the Gundam blows up. Then we have Zeon talking about new types being possessed by hatred because they've killed so many people. I'm not sure if the translation was wrong on that one. The new types don't seem possessed by hatred. It seems like everyone that fought them and lost seems possessed by hatred, but I think that makes more sense. Anyway, at the end of the episode, Machu's just sitting there thinking about how the Witch had a family waiting for her, and it looks like she has a mental breakdown because she's telling herself that this is the kind of determination you need if you want to get to Shuji or whatever. Honestly, really weird. Now jumping into episode 5 recap. And let me tell you, just from the very beginning, going into episode 5, I did not expect to get what we got. Anyway, the episode begins with Machu in a bikini with a camera lingering on her because, she's having a really tough time after the person being killed. Then we have the older woman in the bikini, which I appreciated way more. Anyway, this part is about Machu decompressing from Shuji killing that one girl in the previous episode. Before we continue anything with Machu, we have a whole thing with the Zeon guy. He's gonna go around looking for the Gundam. Anyway, the beginning of the episode is super slow. At 8 minutes, after going through a few minutes of a slice of life montage, we have Machu lustfully gazing at Shuji. And don't worry, at 8 minutes and 40 seconds, we have Nian doing it too. The thruple is going on, bros. Now look, it's a hot day. Shuji's like trying to cool down. Nian starts trying to cool down. Even Machu starts trying to cool down. At this point, everyone is just lying half naked on the Gundam's cold body. At 10 minutes, Zeon guy sees Machu by chance. We also have cops coming in out of nowhere to check Nian's pay. Turns out she's a refugee. But Machu ain't having it, alright? She nails a cop in the balls. And then, somehow, she's running on her own, trying to get away from the cops without Nian, giving Zeon guy time to shove her into a locker. At this point, I realized Machu is getting close to a lot of people. Anyway, Zeon guy sees that Machu is a high society girl due to the badge on her outfit, and questions how is that possible that a high society debutante could be riding a Gundam. Ultimately, we end up in a position where Machu is stuck in a locker, hiding from cops, and you have Neon trying to figure out a solution because they have clan battle in a few hours. At 13 minutes, we have Neon getting in the mobile suit. Neon then talks about the last time she did this, so she has some familiarity with riding mobile suits. Back in the locker, Zeon guy begins his interrogation of Machu, putting some pressure on her, saying that clan battle is going to start soon. He's pretty sure Machu is the pilot. Anyway, Shuji, meanwhile, is dying from a fever, but he's happy to be with Neon. He don't care. At 15 minutes, the battle begins with another classic suit. Now, I should really go back. These guys were introduced at the beginning of the episode. They got a little context added to them at the very beginning. They pretty much are jealous of the Gundam. They want to prove themselves. I think everyone just wants to prove themselves against the Gundam at this point. Anyway, it's at this moment that I really wonder why Zeon doesn't ambush the Gundams, since clan battle is scheduled enough that everyone knows when it's going to be going down. Also, there's posters of the Gundams. So like everyone who knows what's going on here. Anyway, things go wrong for Neon once the battle begins. She doesn't know what she's doing and the enemies hate the Gundam. At 16 minutes 25, Neon takes a crazy electricity attack. Like seriously, that was such a good sequence. These guys were so good at beating her up. At 17 minutes, I realized this is the make Neon suffer episode. At least that's what I thought it was. And then Neon kicks Harrow and I fully stopped liking her as a character. I now hope everyone NTR's Neon. It was cool how she was forcing the Gundam to do what she wanted it to though. At 18 minutes 15 seconds, Neon experiences the Kira Kira experience. But yeah man, one thing you take away from this is Neon is aggressive. I love that shoving Shuji in the way, like she took his Gundam and just like pushed him in front of her, is somehow enough to turn the tables, and everyone is impressed by this. Anyway, the enemies freak out. Gundams are targeting the cockpits. During this period of the battle, we get some interesting deceit tactics and acrobatic movements with Neon having a crazy grin at 20 minutes 22 seconds, and she fully destroys one of those units. Wait, you know what? Shoji killed the last one too because both of the enemies blew up in a giant explosion. There's no way anyone's surviving that. Anyway, the clan battle ends, and of course, that's when Machu finally decides to tear out of the locker. Her jealousy is burned. She goes into a sequence where she is running through the rain. She actually says that Kira Kira was supposed to be for her and Shuji only. In a way, Machu got NTR'd out of the throuple. Anyway, Machu runs to where she expects the Gundam to be, and when the Gundam comes in, the moment Harrow goes to hide behind Machu was great. Poor little guy. And then Machu sees the face of the homewrecker. She looks devastated. And that was episode 5. Guys, let me tell you. For episode 4, right? Episode 4 was just really, really fast-paced. I have opinions about episode 4. At that point, when I'm watching episode 4, I just think that this is an anime made for people who are fans of Gundam in general. I think this would be very difficult to get into when you're just a fan for the first time. Heck, if you were just a Witch of Mercury fan trying to come into this, bro, there weren't even any big shipping moments in this episode. I'm not sure you can really stick around. Everything's just happening so quickly. Now, mind you, as a Gundam fan, I thought that moment with Shuji, like, running that sword into that cockpit, bro, that was slick, man. That was so slick. You know, I was even disappointed seeing the preview for episode 5 because it seemed like we're going to do a beach episode or like a summer episode because everyone's kind of lounging around and looking like they're in beachwear. Coming back to this episode is just so fast. And again, with the name drops of characters from the original series, I really think I think this does more for people that know what they're talking about. And now that you're focusing on, like, well, this character, the witch, was so focused on this idea of new type being propaganda, and you're going into this whole idea about there are main characters and there are side characters, in other words. It just feels like this is a series for people that know. I feel like the less you come in with, the less you're going to get out of this thing, man. And I think the speed of the episode, sometimes you really need these emotional moments, but I think the speed of the episode just kind of ruins it. You don't really get to sit with it for very long, and it makes it feel just kind of vapid because it just comes and goes so quickly. It comes and goes as quickly as one of those Kira Kira flashes. And you know, that moment at the end where Machu is talking about the girl having a family waiting for her, you know, I do like this higher level commentary that this woman was so possessed by hatred that she was putting away her son for a second because she just had to go and pick this final fight with that red Gundam. She just had to prove some kind of propaganda to herself. I like that idea. I think it's really cool. But what I don't like is just the use of new type in the series so far, in the sense that I don't like that Machu was able to connect with this woman on a higher level due to the new type phenomena, and that is how she is able to, like, talk about a family waiting for her. Now, look, that moment of connection, I watched Gundam 00, okay? Like, I understand how this works. I understand that Machu developed an extreme connection with her that is greater than just a total of 2 hours of being in proximity with her, right? It's a greater thing. Like, Machu essentially knew her, like, for months, if you want to give, like, some kind of comparison to how this actually works. But for viewers, you know, you just hear Machu talking about this woman had a family waiting for her, and depending on who you are, like, that might just not work. It might not be good enough. Anyway, guys, let me tell you, I didn't expect after episode 4 that we would be getting this for episode 5. It is such a hot mess what's going on here, guys. Seriously, Everyone's lusting after Shuji, clearly. The camera seems to be lusting after Machu. Machu's having her moments. Then she gets NTR'd out of her own Gundam, and now she's looking at Neon like she's the greatest betrayer in the world. Meanwhile, I like what they're doing with Neon. You know, like, I know I strongly dislike the abuse of the Haro, but this girl, like, when she was in the battle, like, you could see that she was enjoying it. She was enjoying the violence, and so I actually really like the characterization. At this moment, the characterization for Neon, for me, is coming through way more clearly, and I think partly is because it's a lot easier to express crazy people. But yeah, no, coming into episode 5, I didn't think we would be doing this strange mix of romantic tension everywhere. It does feel like a coming-of-age story with the girls kind of discovering their feelings in very different directions. But yeah, overall, episode 5, what a hot mess. Who would have thought that going from thinking about death, we would end up in an NTR-light situation where Machu is jealous of Neon, and they're essentially fighting over the acid trip that they are experiencing with the same boy. And you know what? On Neon's part, I don't even think she cares that much about Shuji. She just cares about the fact that she got to have the acid trip. Now, like, honestly, episode 5, I feel like episode 5 is for people that like soap operas, just with like an extra spice of mech. It's actually kind of concerning how little mech there is so far. I mean, because the way that the episodes are structured, you have the character stuff happening in the first 15 minutes, and then the last 5 minutes, you have the Gundam battle. It's an unfortunate... I don't fully enjoy the structuring of the episode in that regard. It's also interesting how episode 4 was very, very fast, and episode 5, like, it wastes a lot of time on shots that are just there to, like, check out Machu's body, or just have her lounging in the chair, and then, like, the quiet montage sequence. It's interesting how much episode 5 slowed down, but I feel that they did that because they wanted to, like, really aggravate or accentuate the emotional work that was happening in the episode. So my final trip rating for this week of episode 4 and 5, you know what? I hate to say it, but episode 5 really made me invested in the series. Not because of the Gundams, but because I am now fully into this whole thing of these girls about to duke it out because one of them got to have the acid trip that was meant for the other. I'm 100% sold on this drama, and I kind of want to see if we're going to end in a threesome again. Anyway, guys, let me know what you thought down below. Until next time, I hope you have an absolutely great day.